Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Any Way You Slice It. I'm Jason Flom, one of your co-hosts, and this guy right here is living easy and loving free. How you doing? Welcome to another episode, and tonight, yes, the album Peter has been raving about ever since I walked in here 20 minutes ago. His favorite AC/DC album. Here it is. I know you don't like to talk favorites, but it is.
Yeah,
it really is. It's my second favorite.
It is. And Back in Black also is. And For Those About to Rock is also my very top number one favorite. All three of them are my top number one. That's why I can't do favorites. I can't make up my mind, you know.
And Power Age is mine.
Just too good.
Yeah. We're on an AC/DC kick if you haven't noticed. But we're going in order from Power Age all the way up to, what are we at, Flick?
Power Rage all the way through.
Power Age.
I think Flick.
Yeah,
probably
a good place to stop right there.
Yeah.
But tonight is all about this. The band achieved what they set out to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
That is, get a new producer, set their sights on the American market to succeed over there. And guess what? They succeeded.
Yeah.
This album was huge in America. And this is what broke them in America right here. So this was recorded in London, was it not? And apparently they had another producer in mind at first. One that all Kiss fans will recognize, and Zeppelin and Hendrix. Eddie Kramer.
Yep.
Came into the studio and apparently did not get on well with the Young Brothers. At one point he suggested they cover Spencer Davis group song, Give Me Some Lovin', and that wasn't going to fly. So out the door he went. In came Robert Mutt Lange.
Yeah, they had already been breaking away from doing rock and roll covers. They'd been away from that for a few years already.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Not when you have 10 strong songs like this.
I guess they played him the Highway to Hell demo or the idea, the riff, whatever, the verse or something, and he didn't take to it.
Okay.
I mean, how do you explain that? I don't know.
How do you explain that? It's Eddie Kramer. He knows rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things I would never understand in a million years.
Yeah.
But
You know, he had a certain amount of clout at that point already. A lot, actually, probably. And here's this band that was already definitely doing it, but not totally one of the biggest bands in the world yet. So he probably was thinking he was going to direct them more than they thought they needed to be directed, I suppose.
okay. And another thing to remember is AC/DC were giving up the production team they had worked with their whole career up until this point, including one of those guys, George Young, their older brother. You know, so they weren't really keen on getting a new producer, but they listened to their record company, and so Eddie Kramer came in, and you know, to them it must have seemed completely awkward, you know, to not have their brother there and have this guy be suggesting 60s covers to do, you know. So, but
Yeah.
by all accounts, Mutt Lange was the man for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, he stuck around for the next couple records. And I think you know how well those did, too. How successful those were. So
I guess they went in on a day off with Kramer and recorded the songs, demos, the way they wanted them, just the way they wanted them to go themselves. And I think that's what Mutt heard, those demos.
yes, that is actually exactly what happened.
So, but they've always been like this. They've always known kind of exactly what they want to do. And, you know, it's riff-based stuff. Something about piano, too. He wanted to put piano on some stuff. Nothing wrong with piano, of course, but with AC/DC, that was, 79, 80, I mean, Priest, all this stuff. Things were getting heavier. So, something about they weren't cool with having to try and piano on some tune or something, so.
Huh.
What tune would that be?
Eddie Pye said, I worked with Kiss on Christine 16.
Yeah. He's pulling it.
Exactly. I can't picture piano on this
Yeah.
glad they went with Mutt.
Who knows, maybe that was a different song that didn't make the cut or something, but, you know.
So what are some of the differences you notice from, say, the album before?
Well, the cover right away looks like almost like a classic Hollywood movie. It almost has an antique look to it with the browns and stuff. And, they did touch up, and airbrush was really getting popular about this time, right? Airbrush and stuff. We'd go to the fair and get airbrush shirts. They were all cheesy and stuff, or have them do your face or whatever on your shirt.
And a Def Leppard mirror.
But to me, it's such a classic album cover.
It
It's
is. It
definitely
really is.
unlike any other album covers.
It looks good on a shirt. It'd be a cool poster.
It's also semi-classy, and I love it though. But it's like it's classy. I wonder what kind of camera they used to shoot this, but it's been touched up. And the irony is that the devil tail and the horns mixed with this classic vibe. It kind of reminds me of that Kraftwerk cover. That is, it's not Audubon. It's what is that?
I can't help you here.
It's like, yeah, it's one of those late '70s ones. It's got them all perched, kind of looking to the side. Anyway, it reminds
same
me of
photographer,
that.
maybe? Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not.
They're very German, I think.
Oh,
But just really cool. And even the way this is framed around here on the back,
that is a cool picture.
it's got a bit of classiness to it. I always liked it. I always loved the cover.
Yes.
So that's the first thing I noticed.
Oh, proof that this is touched up. Lot of outtakes from this photo session. There's one where Angus is flipping Bond off, and they're just having a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the best shot they took, I would say. Very cool. So, to me, what stands out musically, all of a sudden, they've mastered background vocals.
Yeah. Gang vocals, but like with a little bit of room, a little bit of ambience on them. They're just powerful.
And let's face it, they had background vocals before, TNT, things
Dirty
like that.
Deeds. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
but it's a little more refined here.
They're just as loud as the lead vocal. Like they're powerful. They're
very
really
powerful.
part of the. It's not like they can go out and play live and not have those background vocals.
Yeah.
Like they're predominant on here.
I think-
in every song.
Yeah, I think I counted 2 songs without background vocals on this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's a huge difference. And the way they use those background vocals.
Yeah.
A call and response kind of thing, or,
Yep. Absolutely.
The songs are more compact.
Yeah. There's no 7-minute songs on here.
No, there's
no-
not. There's not. 10 3-minute kick-ass songs.
Yeah.
I guess it's a 41-minute album, so I guess they're not all 3 minutes.
It's like a really, really well-made 30-minute comedy TV show from the, like it's compact, it's to the point, it goes right to
You
the
mean
next
like Mork
scene.
and Mindy?
I'm talking like Frasier, bro.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? It's just really, really well put together, paced really, really well.
Yeah.
Also, the first thing
Good analogy, by the way. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
to me, everything comes down to Kiss or Frasier. So the first thing I notice now, at the time, this was one of my first albums that I got when I was really getting into hard rock. I had some Fleetwood Mac and stuff that I got from the record club in the late 70s. But this is the first time I said I want some music. I had Pyromania, and I had got the single for Come On Feel the Noise, which I actually loved the B-side more even, I think. But then my birthday came a couple months later, and I got this, Duran Duran Rio, and what was the other one? Synchronicity. Cool variety pack. I think at the time the Police and AC/DC hit me the hardest, And the first thing I noticed now would be the guitar sound. It's warmer. To me it has, I would compare it to like an EMG pickup sound. That's why in our Power Rage episode I was wondering, did he switch to EMGs here? It would be hard to believe he did that at that point. When did EMG start? I don't know. But he was
Look it up really quick.
on the Power Rage tour. You see him jumping around. He doesn't have a cord coming out of his guitar. He's using a special wireless system that is a transmitter, which later there's a hole carved into his guitar, I guess, to have that transmitter in there, or nestled in there enough to where I wouldn't get knocked on the ground or whatever. But between the transmitter and the receiver, it changed the tone, and there were some settings you could dial in. I guess it was really a lot to it that really, really changed the sound, and that's why you don't hear that kind of. It kind of curbed that tweaky little high end that you hear kind of ringing sometimes on the earlier albums. That's when that stopped. That went all the way up to Power Rage. It's a less raw guitar sound, but it's still really driven.
Very driven.
And I
know
just
it
love
drives me crazy.
What's that?
So driven, it drives me crazy.
I mean, I just love it. I love it to hear that guitar sound on this album. Their interplay is they're doing interplay like they normally kind of do. One guy's doing something an octave up, or one guy's got the notes flipped a little bit or something, but their guitar tones are perfect together, and they're perfectly in tune. I mean, I cannot find one chord on this album where someone's a little flat or something. Even in the solos, really.
Even in like Highway to Hell, I was listening to it. Does Angus not come in till the solo?
Huh.
Because there's just that one really good sounding guitar until the solo. He probably is there doubling them up.
I guess they used 3 mics, 2 57s, and I can't remember what the other mic was, but they used 3 mics and then kind of blended them for the difference between different songs. Some songs are more distorted. Girls Got a Rhythm is surprisingly clean, really, you know. But anyway, that's really what changed with the guitar sound, and I really didn't know that until I kind of looked it up, because I really wanted to know what the difference was. It's a really warm, but still raw, but warm. It's a more controlled guitar sound, and God, it really comes through on his solos.
Yeah. So besides the background vocals, the guitar tones and sounds on this album, it's, you know, this isn't a pop album by any means, but the songs are just short and concise with pop elements. You know, so we're gonna get into a track by track.
They got away from, you know, a lot of AC/DC songs. They got a little riff trick, and the bass is holding down like, you know, the one chord, and they're just on that chord. And then they go and they lift it a little bit, and they'll go to the 4th or whatever, like you would in a 12 bar. But then for a turnaround, they don't go 5/4. They go whatever little progression. You know, they come up with a creative way to get back to the one chord, and they do that on a lot of earlier songs. And on here, there's almost none of that. It's like they were just going in a more less traditional but more creative, their own progressions. There's some really cool progressions. I love the way it turns around on Girls Got a Rhythm and goes back. I love the arrangements on the album, and I love that
sequencing. Is huge on this.
Yeah, true. I love, although I would change one thing, which would be crazy if it were changed, but I don't know if I'd have Highway to Hell first.
Really?
Because it's the classic, but I feel like it could be track 2, because it opens up with this almost like a medium slow anthem, which is, they knew it was a hit. That's why they put it first, right? But you know, a lot of albums, they'll start a little more up pace and then hit you with that.
What would be first then?
I don't know what would be first. I didn't rearrange it yet, but I just kind of always thought in the back of my mind, Highway to Hell could be a little later. But they hit him with the hit right off the bat.
Yeah.
Why not?
It was the first single. Here it is right away.
I probably would too. If everything's on the line, you know, you put that big hit up front.
Yeah. And, you know, some things that I think everybody out there knows. This was Bon Scott's last album with him. He died, this came out in July 79. He died in February 80. So, after the tour. Passed away.
And we both said that we think The Power Rage is one of his best performances. For me, once I heard this and, like, listened to it up close, I like, oh my God, just the color and all the little devices that he throws in all the time. Everything. And I guess Mutt had a hand in rephrasing some of the lyrics. And I don't know if that was to make them gentler or I don't know what exactly, because Bon didn't have a problem being playing around with irony and whatnot before. But Mutt had a hand in, I guess that created a little bit of an issue between him and Bon. But they made it through the process. And And what else? The drum sounds. They are still kind of raw on here. They're not for those about to rock yet, but I guess they were kind of done in a small room, and the guy who mixed it kind of reamped, you call it. Not really reamped, but he re-roomed them, I guess. He didn't play them through speakers through a chamber and mic it, but I guess he had some rooms he put these things in. You hear it on the background vocals. They also use an EMT 40 plate, and but he re-roomed basically these things to get some of the ambience on these things. to get natural ambience.
Things are getting serious. I'm taking my jacket off. All right.
Yeah. So, God, I love the sound of the album, and it is a perfect stepping stone because it's really consistent and controlled, but some of the tones, like the drums, are still, it's like, is that snare a little bit overdriven? Like when you listen to it, it's rocking, It's not Back in Black yet, or For Those About to Rock, which is even a step further. Back in Black, or For Those About to Rock has got a snare, it's like almost as thick as the snare, or as the kick drum, Getting into some big snares at that point.
Peter's a professional drummer. He notices these things.
Well, yeah, I listen for that kind of stuff. But it just, to me, it just sounds great. It just really sounds great. Mm-hmm. And I stepped away from it for years at a time because it was one of my first albums, and I listened to it to death. I know every single nuance, every second of the album. It just, when I do come back to it, though, it's really powerful.
Yeah, I was telling Peter, I knew every single song on this album, except Get It Hot, from the radio. Yeah. Radio up here played this album constantly, and every song, not just the singles.
Yeah.
Night Prowler was huge on the radio here. Shot Down in Flames is all over KISW. Mm-hmm. Touch Too Much, Girls Get Rhythm, Highway, Beating Around the Bush, all those songs. Heard them a million times before I even purchased this. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's almost like a greatest hits.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just this suite of songs, perfectly arranged, and they are slightly more concise songs and stuff, but to me, in this case, it fucking works so good. Thank God they did a different kind of album, because they did a lot of those great raw albums before.
It's a good example of a band who broadened their appeal without selling out. Nothing about this album is a sellout.
Yeah.
But they did things in order to be more radio friendly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is the first one that has a drum sound that leans this way, where you can really crank it up in the car,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So what is the first song that you would change? What's the opening track, Peter?
Well, Highway to Hell, I mean, I'm a little tired of hearing it myself. You said it really never affected you like that, but I've heard it a lot.
I mean,
we all have,
If there's any song that's getting close to the burnout factor, it is that.
Yeah.
But, it's so good. It's,
oh, it's amazing. It's great,
Oh, it's amazing. Did you hear the controversy about the lyrics? There's people, idiots, who think that Bon uses a racial slur in the first verse. The actual line is season ticket on a one-way ride. Mm-hmm. Some people think he uses a racial slur in there. Absolutely not. Why? First of all, why would he do that? They're trying to broaden their appeal, not absolutely break it all down.
I thought it was taken ticket on a one-way ride. I guess I never thought
season
about
ticket on a one-way ride.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you listen to it thinking he says this racial slur, maybe you'll hear it in your mind, but I've heard that song probably, no exaggeration, 1,000 times without knowing about the racial slur thing.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought it one time. I knew what the line was all along, season ticket. So anyway.
Senior taking on the one. I mean, what would it be?
In Mexico, that's the Mexico mix. No, it's use the N word, okay?
Really?
Yeah.
In the big hit?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like Mutt would even they would even do it.
It's ridiculous.
And that would have, even if he were some secret racist, it would have to pass through Mutt.
Yeah.
He's trying to make the biggest album of his career. I don't think so. No way. You know what I mean?
Okay, so enough of that talk, people.
Yeah. Sick.
Season ticket on a one-way ride.
Yeah.
Highway to Hell's amazing.
Yeah, this ain't Ted Nugent show here. No hating.
They did play Day on the Green with Ted, so maybe he rubbed off on...
oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
He converted them to haters.
Okay, we were talking about sequencing earlier. This is why I would always keep Highway to Hell number 1 and Girls Got Rhythm number 2 because the way that starts after Highway ends,
and then ba 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 ba, and then he leads him into the verse,
and with the same riff going on throughout the whole song.
To me, Highway to Hell is just a little bit drudgy. I mean, it's amazing. It's what it is. It's one of their biggest songs, of course. But from there, there's times where I even just start the album on 2 and just let it rock,
I know you don't like favorites, but Girls Got Rhythm's my favorite.
Probably your favorite?
On the album, yeah. Yeah, but
Well,
it's that riff, man.
it's that track too. It's like, Kiss on Creatures and all these they put their real favorite song as track 2. Sometimes they can put it as number 1, but when it doesn't pace right, they got to have that opener be whatever it is. And the track 2 is usually the band's ultimate song that they're, I think, most excited about.
Yeah, exactly.
Hundreds of albums I've noticed it,
Yep.
Girls Got a Rhythm, amazing arrangement. Just, God, those guitars sound so good. And they seem a little cleaner on that song, maybe.
They do.
Yeah.
Such a good riff. Why not keep it going the whole song? Love it.
Just amazing.
Rock and roll rhythm.
Dude, I feel like his vocals in this album, he's just pushing it and pushing the higher stuff. And I just love it when his voice just, like, almost can't take it.
It's like he knew, I'm not going to be around much longer. I'm really going... I'm going out on a high note.
You can really hear the stress in his throat sometimes. Like, he's definitely giving it his all. I mean, I love the way he ends on every song. He's got some funny thing, or like nanu nanu or whatever. Like, he is bringing the humor and bringing the energy, and it's just absolutely amazing, I think.
Right on.
Yeah. So killer. That guitar solo, too.
Oh, yeah.
That is like the biggest, warmest guitar solo tone that Angus ever had. Up to this date, at least. I mean, that is a nice, chunky, warm sound.
Yeah, they never cared until this album about their sounds as much because it really comes through. And next couple albums, they definitely did as well.
The Mutt Langes, where there's only so many of them around in the 70s, now everybody with Pro Tools can make your album sound like it's, whatever, huge, big production, whatever, but back then there was just a few guys, really, I mean, who was really doing it? Who was really a sound architect like that? Like Bob Ezrin.
Oh, yeah.
Mutt Lange came along, like, kind of right after that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who else was there? Ken Scott. But he, all around Ken Scott, made, like, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Birds of Fire, and the Supertramp albums, Honky Dory. He made those albums sound amazing, but the drums aren't produced in like this, Mutt Lange, I think Mutt Lange started to really change rock production from here on out. I mean, and with High and Dry, it doesn't get any better than that. That's just perfection,
We should do that album someday.
Oh, we got to. On Through the Night, through Pyromania, or your favorite, Hysteria.
I'd liked it when it came out.
He loves it.
Did Mutt do Hysteria too?
Oh God, yeah, he did that one. A couple
He stuck with him.
A couple after
the 80s.
that too.
Okay.
I can't really take it. But.
Yeah. All right. So what's up next? Walk All Over You is up next.
All over you.
First of all, the beginning, the drums, the way Phil,
it has
Phil
this
keeps it all
really
together.
slow, open, drudgy thing. The guitar, drum fills. It goes for like a whole minute before they finally come in. Almost totally opposite to where, like, Girls Got a Rhythm.
Yeah, that just hits you right.
Yeah.
Like a cannon. Yeah, Walk All of You is great, and again, the background vocals, just so cool. It's just a great production, great song. It's my third favorite on the album, so, Gee, I wonder what number 1 is. Any clue, Peter?
What number 1 is?
For me?
I thought you liked Girls Got a Rhythm.
No, that's... Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
No. Did I... Oh, I'm sorry. Girls Got Rhythm's number 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because number 1 is Touch Too Much.
Touch Too Much?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, anything else to say about Walk All Over You, though?
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, we could, if YouTube would let us fucking play it, we could play it and talk about it all day because it's amazing.
So we did our Power Age episode, and we were playing songs for you people, and then we talk about it, and then Peter edited it and put it together, and YouTube blocked it.
Yeah,
because of the music. So
well, they don't know what we're doing. They just have some digital radar that detects the songs are in there. And
so he had to edit out the songs. So
of course, when people talk about these amazing albums, all it could do is sell more copies. You know what I mean? You're watching a video and some review comes on for Dark Side of the Moon or some album you haven't listened to in years, and you're like, oh yeah, that album is amazing. I think I'll go buy it right now. You know what I mean? It can't harm AC/DC and their sales, but whatever. What are you gonna do? They don't know what we're doing. So
maybe they just don't like the sound quality coming at the people or something.
They're not judging it. I mean, they just know that song's owned by Warner or whatever, and you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Walk All Over You is just every single song, they just kind of interlock. To me, I think of it as this suite of songs that's made to be together, you know, and it just keeps going. Song after song starts. They have it programmed so well. So
especially side one. Side one is like a perfect side.
Yeah. Can we hear the little bit of Walk?
I'm gonna walk all over you.
So Walk All Over You is really cool because it has that halftime chorus, which is kind of different for them. His vocals. He comes in after the solo. He leads him in and kind of like almost fades his voice in. God, he just really had a supernatural ability to do something. Just even one word, the way he delivers one word, deliver it. So there's something special about it, you know.
Absolutely.
It's pretty magical. And the ending on that one, kind of an AC/DC ending on that one, actually. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Mutt would hear the way they did songs and think, what song would sound good starting after that? And guess what? He picked a good one here.
Yeah.
Because Touch Too Much, when that comes in, oh my God.
That is a really great feel on that, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite on this album. Touch Too Much. Which they never did live with Bon. I think they did it live with Axl Rose. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever listened to any of that Axl stuff?
I checked it out at the time. I didn't go to any concerts, but...
No, they didn't come here, I don't think.
I thought they did. See, I don't know.
With Axl? I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares about that?
I am going to see them. If they come back, if the AC/DC comes here next summer, I'm going.
With Axl?
No. With Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely going to that. Because it's been, God, since 86 last time I seen him. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I feel like the mood of Touch Too Much is, I feel like that's a totally fresh thing for them. You would not hear that on any of those old albums.
No, not at all.
I mean, it is pop. Pop doesn't necessarily mean Celine Dion. It just means something that's probably not based on blues and well arranged, but it's definitely got a mood that's unlike, for me at that time, unlike any AC/DC song that I've heard up to that point, you know.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt.
So it's interesting how they were expanding. They were pushing. I wonder if they were just, I guess, you know, they were trying to write hits, I suppose, really. Still
without selling out.
Rockin' hits, but still, you know.
No power ballads.
Tangible stuff that wasn't just blues-based, you know.
Want to hear a bit of it?
Sure.
Touch Too Much.
The background vocals are just powerful, you know. Gang vocals.
I hate to use the term, but it's so radio-friendly, that song. You know? Yeah. Man. The thing with the background vocals, I should say this on camera.
Yeah, let's do it. But beating around the bush. The thing that I always noticed is they're really thinking more about guitar parts, pushing to fill it out, to embellish more. And the second verse has that high notes that are descending. You know, they I feel like they hadn't really done that before, and it's another different thing I noticed. I took it for granted when I got this when I was like 11. I mean, I just didn't really know what to compare it to, but.
Well, I would compare Beating Around the Bush to Oh Well by Fleetwood Mac. The guitar riff is similar, the fast guitar riff in the beginning.
Oh Well.
And Oh Well in this song, you know, you got this stop, sing, play guitar, stop, sing.
Yep, absolutely.
But, yeah.
I love playing that riff. I've always loved it. I learned it a year or two ago, and I was playing it all the time. Trying to get my kids to learn drums, I'd be playing it and try to get them to play it.
Seems like every Bond album had its really fast song. Riff raff, rocker, you know.
Yep.
And this is, you know, the fast one on this. Absolutely. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
You know?
Shreds
absolutely love it. Up next is Shot Down in Flames. Ain't it ashamed to be shot down in flames? Another song that, again, without selling out, I can hear them doing this one for the radio. And it worked.
I feel like it could have been a radio song. It wasn't a single, was it? Or was it a single?
I think it was.
Really?
I think it was the last single.
Huh. The lyrics are so funny. Yeah, I mean, they're comical.
Yeah.
I've always loved it.
I said, hey, baby, what's the going price? She told me to
go to hell. Yeah.
That's Bond's humor right there.
Yeah, that's so good.
No deep meaning here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a one. What's that sound he does at the end again?
Is that the one with like the sheep or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Billy Goat. It's amazing. Yeah. I laugh every time I hear that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Great song.
Why would he do that at the end?
He probably did it as a joke, but then they probably thought, no, let's leave that.
They left it in.
Yeah.
It's awesome, though. It's awesome.
That's the question of the night. Why did Bond do that?
Why would he do that there? I mean, we know why he did Nanu Nanu, because Mork and Mindy was big at the time, right? It started in 78.
Plus, they're trying to break into the American market. Hey, that's big in America. You know?
Win over the Mork and Mindy fans?
Yeah, because that's what they were going for.
Yeah, but the Billy Goat thing or whatever it is, it's just amazing and ridiculous. Love it.
And like I said, he probably didn't think they were going to leave it in. You know, he probably just always did silly stuff like that. You know, once in a while they left it in.
Yeah,
it's just funny because it's for lack of a better term, it's a serious record. You don't expect a Billy Goat sound at the end of a song, or a Mork and Mindy quote. So it's funny. It lends to the whole thing. You know, it's like, oh, these guys have senses of humor.
Yeah.
Get It Hot.
Get It Hot.
Good 3-minute rocker.
That one kind of does sound a little more classic AC/DC.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I could hear that on Dirty Deeds or something. You know.
Can we hear that for a second?
Or High Voltage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
His drumming too. You know, it's the same on all the albums. Like, it was always extremely solid and relentless, and to really be that driving, you know, you got to hit the snare close as you can to the same throughout the whole verse. You know what I mean? You might pick it up and hit a little different on the chorus or whatever, but when you're you know what I mean, when you're keeping this groove going, you don't want it to falter, and he was like the best at that at the time. He was really, really good at that. I mean, Neil Peart came along and had an even more even temperament when hitting the snare and the toms and all that kind of stuff, but that's in a progressive way. He did the most he could fit in, and he does. It's kind of funny, his drum fill sometimes. That's his whole drum fill, you know. And but it's so amazing the way it hits off the guitars. And
yeah, you could ask me 24/7. Put me on the spot. Jason, name a solid drummer. Phil Rudd.
Yeah. It's a term we all use. Somebody hit me at the club. Hey, Peter, you heard of any drummers? You know, because I'm doing sound 4 nights a week with all these bands. We really need a Phil Rudd. It's a term. It's a term you use to describe a type of drummer. You know what I mean? Yep. There's the Phil Rudds. There's the Bonhams. You know, the guys that got the drums that are huge. You know, like maybe got a gong behind them or something. You know, but absolutely. But for me, it comes across on this album more than all the other ones before it because the drums are recorded a little more. They're mic'd a little more careful. There's times on Power Age where I was whining about Jason's favorite AC/DC album, where I can barely hear the toms. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can barely hear them, but on here you hear it's just produced so well. You know,
it is. This is better production than Power Age. I'll say that.
But think about all those punk rockers that want everything to be recorded with 3 mics, completely overdriven and distorted. It does that for them. You know, it's what they want. But so the early AC/DC stuff, you can't compete with it. It's raw as hell. It's supposed to be. You know. Mm-hmm. But for me, this is a really special kind of step up. You know,
without a doubt. If you want blood, here it is.
You got it.
All right. Well, the first obvious thing is this was written after their live album came out called that. Oh. And the way they came up with the title was simple. Somebody asked Bond, what can we expect from the show tonight? And he said, blood.
So it wasn't something they had written but just didn't record?
Not that I know of. Oh. Not that I know of.
This song in particular has got probably the most ambience on it. The drums, the snare, the guitars have like an echo, some verb and an echo. And it sounds glorious. It sounds great.
Yeah, we were listening to it. We paused it and we listened to the songs just to get them fresh in our minds. And the guitar in the beginning, Doesn't sound like any AC/DC guitar tone I've ever heard. Kind of sounds like Bryan Adams or something.
Because it's majory like that, and yeah.
So still cool, super cool, great song. To me, the chorus makes the song, and there's almost like a chorus after the chorus. It just the nice long chorus, great background vocals. Of course, I've said that so many times tonight. But so next up, to me, this next song, all about Cliff Williams.
Yeah.
Love Hungry Man.
It's kind of a
Pause it.
sure. It's kind of a sexy groove, isn't it?
Very sexy groove.
Kind of sexy, waxy.
So is Girls Got Rhythm and Touch Too Much.
Yeah, but this is slow, sexy.
There's a lot of sex on this album.
Yeah, sex.
A lot of sex.
We're like in Fast Times at Ridgemont High or something. Yeah, man.
No, very
but
sexy groove.
It is maybe for me the only one I don't skip it because it's in this perfect list of songs. It just unravels perfectly, but it's a cool, different groove than the rest. But it is a little bit forgettable, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, the bass line. That's what gives it its sexiness.
Yeah, that is maybe the most star bass line of any AC/DC song ever.
Oh, it's gotta be.
And he fills in before that, too, on the intro. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's filling in space.
Yeah.
He's not doing what he normally does. Probably Mutt's idea. Like, hey, play it a little different right there.
It's almost kind of funky,
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. It
But
doesn't.
like
It doesn't
sexy
build.
funky.
It doesn't build to a glorious chorus or anything like that. But I mean, it is a cool groove, and it is an interesting song for them. You
Yeah.
know?
Did you know, Peter, that Angus was asked what his least favorite AC/DC song is? And guess what he said?
What'd he say?
Love Hungry Man.
He said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't really build, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's a cool.
Yeah, I'm sure he still likes it, but, that brings us...
Bond yelling as he goes into the solo. I mean, it's every song has great bits. The way just the way he sings every line is just so cool.
Yeah. So Love Hungry Man has its own mood. That's one thing about this album is every song has its own mood, basically. But Night Prowler, talk about a dark, menacing blues.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. If you would have asked me 20 years ago, whatever, my favorite AC/DC song, I would have said Night Prowler.
It's definitely the only like 6/8, right? It's definitely the only 6/8 groove on the album. It's really bluesy.
Very.
Yeah.
Just like Ride On. It's like an evil Ride On is what it is. I like how, it inspired Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
To go off killing people. I mean, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
And Angus has said, no, it's not about that. It's about
Yeah.
like a peeping Tom, like a guy outside.
Well, duh. It's a peeping Tom thing, right? Us 11-year-olds
Sure,
do
Angus.
that, right?
Listen to those lyrics.
You don't think it is?
Well, let's steel going into your back, or what's that line? You don't feel the steel till it's hanging out your back or something like that. No, it's about killing.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
I guess I got more peeping Tom vibes from it.
Okay, well, there's just overall creepiness to the song,
Yeah.
but that line about the steel in your back.
It's creepo.
Yeah. Still, you shouldn't go kill people
Yeah.
because of the song.
Don't do it.
No, it's fiction. This is fiction. It's
Yeah.
entertainment. All right?
Yeah.
And then the ending, Shazbot Nanu Nanu.
Ends the album on a Mork and Mindy.
Yeah. Mork and Mindy was huge in 1979 when this came out.
I love Mork and Mindy.
I loved it. I was 8. I loved it. Of course I did.
I love it now.
Apparently Bond loved it too.
I got the first 2 seasons.
Do you?
I'll admit it.
All right. Hey. On VHS?
I have the DVDs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
great, man. Mindy.
Pam Dauber. That's who you referred to. Conrad Janis.
Yeah.
And
then
Robin Williams in his cocaine blitzed
that
out.
was amazing.
He was that comedic gold.
That her dad ended up being on Frasier for years as kind of like a side guy.
Really?
Yeah, he's always the guy like in
Dauber's
the elevator,
dad?
being bitchy in the elevator, pissing Niles off or whatever.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was on tons of stuff. I feel like he never really got a big role after Mork and Mindy. He's just side characters forever.
Yeah, I'm one of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
You see a lot of those people in sitcoms. Like, I've seen him somewhere, and you look it up. Oh, he was on Chips. You know, he was on whatever.
Yeah.
So we love Night Prowler. We love the whole album. I called it during our Power Rage episode. I called this my second favorite, but it's more like a 1B. It's not number 2.
When you're listening to it, it's number 1.
1B. Let's get
When
it
you listen to Power Rage, it's number 1.
Okay. But that says a lot about it, you know, because we're not listening to blow up your video and thinking, this is number 1 right now. No. So, yeah, the last album with Bon Scott, the end of an era, really.
He ended on such a high point, too. You know, and you got to wonder how those next albums have gone with him, you know.
Yeah, and
it worked out good for AC/DC because really heavy, a little more macho stuff was kind of the thing in like 82 and stuff. I mean, that was heavy stuff. Well, maybe it was because AC/DC was affecting everybody too. So maybe, you know, what came first, chicken or the egg? But I mean, Priest, you know, we all know 82 and on. That was in 81, Iron Maiden, stuff like that. But of course, they had the biggest, most interesting comeback when somebody with such a strong personality like Bon leaves, and then
who would have ever
get another
thought?
singer and come back bigger? Even
Thought?
it's crazy, you know.
Yeah, let's see Van Halen do that. Nope, they didn't do it, did they?
They remained pretty big.
But they
years.
didn't get better.
Yeah, integrity.
They were riding on the coattails of their previous success.
Yeah.
Not AC/DC. They were, you know, just soldiering on, you know, onward and upward. And guess what, people? Our next episode, we're going back in black. So stay tuned for that. I'm Jason. This guy right here is Peter.